Happy Tuesday. The last, I don't know, 2 weeks, every day I've said to Cam, like, what day is it? At least 3 times. I don't know what's happening. Time is just flying. I mean, we've been here for almost 4 weeks now, which is ridiculous. It's gone so quick. Sad times. We actually leave Thursday. On to our second home, Albania. I feel like it's our second home. We spend a lot of time there. It's really a place we enjoy living. So, we've had this question a few times over the last week, I'd say. Really strange. Everyone keeps asking me the same question. And we have answered it in a couple of Zooms with clients. But then I had it with someone asked me yesterday, who is an oral client. And I kind of wanted to summarize because I was messaging her. But I'm going to go into a little bit more detail here. And I think Cam and I will do or maybe me and Shelby, me and someone will do a podcast episode on this as like a full thing. As soon as I done, because and I think we'll talk about how do you know if your hormones are healthy, right? Because I'm always talking about, healthy hormones, hormone balance, metabolism, which in turn is reflected by your hormone system. And lots of people ask me, like, well, how do I know? How do I know if the hormones are out of whack or if they're good? So I'll briefly talk about some now, and then whoever we decide to do the podcast with, whether it's Cam or whether it's Shelby, we'll have like a full-on in-depth conversation about it. But some of the things you need to look out for. Can you get tested? Yes. That was one of the questions as well. Can I get tested for hormone balance? Yes. But the problem with that is the doctor will give you like a range, and he'll say, or she will say, you're within range. But that might not be your range. So let's say your iron levels are within range, for example, but you still feel terrible, you feel really tired. Like, that means that your iron levels are not, that your iron levels are not okay for you, but they're okay for me, maybe. So the problem with testing is that the ranges are too generalized, unless you have been to the doctor, which is really unlikely, right? It's really unlikely that you'll go to the doctor and say, hey, doc, I'm feeling freaking awesome. I've got so much energy. My weight is in a good place. I'm mentally switched on. I feel awesome. Can you take my bloods, please? It's very unlikely that we do that. But that's ideally what we need, because then when we're not feeling so good, and they say, well, it's in with the range. You say, well, actually, it's not within my range. This is kind of my range. This is when I was feeling good. And now I'm half of that. So that's, probably out of range for me, isn't it? And then you've got some solid data to kind of, give it back to your doctor or whoever. So yes, you can get tested for hormones and different hormones as well. Like, some hormones can be really easy to test for. Like luteinizing hormone is the one that is highest when you're ovulating. So you can test that at home, right? You can test that. You pee on a stick, just like a pregnancy test, pee on it, and then it'll tell you whether it doesn't give you the ranges, but it'll say, hey, yes, you're ovulating, or no, you're not. And so if the luteinizing hormone is high enough, then it will say that you're ovulated. If not, it will say that you're not. And that could mean then you need different tests to check what's going on there. But generally, these are things I look out for to make sure that my clients' hormones are in a good spot. So we don't tell them this, generally. We don't tell them that, hey, when you do your check-in every week, we are actually looking for your hormone response. We're looking for your balance. We're looking to see if everything's in check. They don't know that. They think we're asking very in-depth questions about their week. So this is what we ask them. We're looking for things like, how was your sleep this week? So obviously melatonin, serotonin, cortisol is all linked to your sleep. amongst other things, but for that is for an easy example, let's see. Also, leptin and ghrelin, which are your hunger hormones, they are also linked to sleep. Now, we also ask, hey, how's your hunger been? Have you been like really hungry? Have you not been hungry? Because if you're not hungry, but you're sleeping, and you're not sleeping like shit, for example, or you are sleeping like shit, then that could mean that there's a problem with your circadian rhythm, your body clock. So we need to work on sleep. If you're not hungry, and maybe your weight is going up, then maybe your hormones are good, you're eating too much. So we need like a full picture. So what we're looking for clients in their check-ins is, how's your sleep been? Have you been waking up through the night? Have you been waking up refreshed? Have you had trouble getting to sleep? Are you tossing? Are you turning? If any of those answers are yes, then we need to look at fixing something. And so we'll give them a protocol to follow. Hunger, which I've already mentioned. Are you really hungry? Are you ravenous? Are you having cravings? Are you not hungry at all? Are you missing your hunger cues? Are you full constantly? Those are, are you full constantly? Are you hungry constantly? Those are some of the hunger ones we ask. Energy. This is the biggest one. I would say this is the biggest one to know whether your hormones are out of whack, is your energy. So have you got consistent energy? What this means is you wake up, you're not like rolling your ass out of bed. You're like, well, time to wake up. And you get out of bed. I'm not saying you jump out, right, and sing to the birds or anything. But you get up, you're like, okay, let's get on with it. I'm ready. Let's go. And it doesn't take you hours to kind of wake up. You don't feel the need to constantly hit snooze. You're up and at 'em, shall we say. You don't have an afternoon slump. That's another thing. Lots of people say, I have an afternoon slump, or 5 p.m. I'll reach for the cookies because I'm tired or whatever. Typically, or I rely on caffeine to wake me up. That's another thing. So all these energy level kind of problems, that would suggest that there's some hormonal problem or some hormonal shift that needs looking at. So we then would look at the other things. Well, are they sleeping well? No. Well, they're probably tired because they're getting shit sleep, right? And that's an obvious thing. Or is it because they are going to bed too late? Or is it because they are, I don't know, could be loads of different reasons. Not eating enough, for example. Maybe they're hungry because they're not eating enough. Their energy levels are low. So we need to look at what is happening across the board, not just on a piece of paper. Don't live in a lab. I say this all the time. Maybe I should wear a t-shirt with that on. But they are a couple of things. What else do we look out for? So we've got sleep, hunger, energy, recovery. So are you recovering from workouts? Are you feeling like, oh my God, my legs are killing me throughout the whole week and I feel like I can't do another workout? Or are you feeling like, yep, I'm ready to go, rocking and rolling? Because you shouldn't be chasing an ache, guys. That's another thing. You shouldn't chase an ache to say if you've had a good workout. It's not appropriate. And then, so recovery, digestion. This is something that a lot of people don't think about. They just don't. They're just like, I just need to lose weight. It's like, well, actually, are you pooping? How often are you pooping? What does your poop look like? This is our poop talk, okay? And this is because if your gut health is off, that's got consequences for the rest of your a lot of your hormones actually. Serotonin, which is the calm hormone, that is produced mostly in your gut. So if your gut health is off, then you're not producing serotonin as much. So you're going to feel off as well. And then you're going to feel more stressed. So cortisol will be increased probably. And then you're looking at your immune system, also mostly in the gut. So if you're getting sick all the time, it could be that you've got a gut issue. And then you've got the more obvious things, right? Gas, bloating, constipation, diarrhea, gastric reflux, all of these kinds of things that people also get and don't think about. But they also will then affect your hormones, right? So sometimes it's physical things that we can see. Like, are you getting a regular cycle? Is your period regular? That is something that we can see, right? We mark it off. Am I bleeding? Yes, no. No, I'm not getting regular. Yes, I'm regular. Okay. So that is a very obvious way to figure out if those few hormones are on track. But then there are, and like I said, bloating, gastric reflux, if you're constipated, if you're like pooping liquid, all of these kinds of things. Sorry if you're having breakfast. But they are the kind of things that people don't really look out for when thinking about hormones. They think blood test, and that's not necessary. So digestion, stress. Here we go, guys. This is the big one. Stress. How has your week been? Have you felt very stressed this week? And I ask this to people quite often, actually, especially on calls. They're like, yeah, I'm not really that stressed. I'm like, but you've just said that you've got a big project at work, that you're working full time, you're looking after your kids, your husband is in hospital or wherever. You've got to sort this out, you've got to sort that out, and you're also doing this and this and this. You've got home renovations going on and all this stuff. How are you not stressed? And I'm just used to it. So being used to stress doesn't mean that you're not stressed, right? So that's another thing that we look out for. And cortisol, which is the hormone that's released along with like adrenaline and a few other neural death, right? I can't remember. But anyway, once that has been released, the cortisol will really screw us up, and that is the one that I see most problems with clients and non-clients, actually, is that their cortisol is high. So I have got a cortisol ebook, which is coming out very, very soon. It's being finished up. Just message me cortisol if you want that. It is proven to be very, very, very popular at the minute. So shoot me a message if you want that. If you're a client, you will get it. Don't freak out. Don't need to message me. You'll get it. Anything I talk about, I'm like, just message me and you'll get it. Like, if you're a client, you'll get it. So that's cool. If you want a message, cool. So there's also storm. I don't know if you can hear that. But stress is like the big one. Is the big motherfucker. We will definitely do a podcast on stress. I think we've done one before, but we'll do another one, an up-to-date one, for you guys. And if you don't follow our podcast on Spotify, please head over. We are Hangry and Hormonal. It's our podcast. So we've got sleep, hunger, recovery, energy, digestion, and stress. They're the ones that we look at to make sure that we are good. But generally, if you're like feeling blah, if something just doesn't feel right, if you're feeling tired, if you get exhaustion, brain fog, because we haven't talked about things like that, cognitive function, your they're kind of like C-suite in your brain. Hey, Sam. Your decision making, if those kinds of things are off, if you're forgetting things, if you have got that word on the tip of your tongue, like I just did, and you're like, what's that called? Then those are other things that could be going on. And like for me, right now, I've made it very public. I'm struggling a little bit with cortisol, high cortisol myself, ironically, whilst I'm creating this cortisol guide. It is something that I'm taking into my own hands. It is something I'm actively working on. So hopefully it won't be the problem for much longer. But they are the kind of things we look out for. So exhaustion, fatigue, cognitive ability, decision making, getting to sleep well, waking up well, not waking up through the night, eating the right amount, feeling hungry at times, like that's okay, but just not all the time. Getting full, all of these kinds of things are things that we look for, digestion, and so on and so forth. So they are basically everything that we look for to make sure that our clients' hormones are in a good spot. If there's something consistent and we're like, right, try this, and 3 weeks later still say, try this, 3 weeks later, try this, 3 weeks later. That is then when people typically go to the doctor. We've only had this like once or twice, I think. And then maybe the doctor will do some extra tests. But generally, I'm going to be very careful here. A lot of hormonal issues can be fixed through natural lifestyle changes and nutrition. I think that's the most tactful way to say that. So guys, it was a short one. I've got a call in 10 minutes, so I need to get changed and get ready for my call with someone who wants to join. But if you need anything, let us know. I'm recording a podcast later on someone else's podcast. I am speaking at a hormone menopause summit, which I do need to talk about. And hopefully today I'll find the time to put something out about that. Come join our group. We have got a wait list at the minute to enter our Facebook group of about 80 people, and it is climbing. So we are getting through to you. If you emailed from yesterday's email, which again, we had 100 emails from that, I am getting back to you. If you are waiting for a comment or a message, if you want the guide, if you want the meal plan, I am getting back to you. This is just one of me, so I am getting back to all of you. But that is it for now. If you need anything, let us know. Otherwise, have a good one. I'll speak to you soon.